Hi, today I'm going to talk about the art and science of Chinese metaphysics. So, all ancient cultures have been very interested and intrigued by the movements of the stars. In the ancient days, understandably, the brightest objects that you could see were always above, whereas the brightest objects that we can see these days are the street lamps or perhaps a neon sign. So it's very, very much a different time, and people used to study the stars, as a lifelong study. So for the ancient Chinese, the earth was very much viewed as the center of the universe. And many people today still believe that they are the center of the universe, but that's a different story. So, over time, after countless observations, there was a connection that was made between the planetary movements and behaviors of the humans and the phenomena that are observed on Earth, like the weather patterns. So all of that, a correlation was established. At this point, you must be thinking, how can something that is millions of miles away affect me? Well, we all know the closest, celestial body that we have to Earth is actually the moon. And the moon very much affects the tides in the ocean. So the Earth, 70% water, human beings, 70% water. So we actually do get pulled ever so slightly by the gravitational pull of the moon. So because the ocean is observable, what's happening within Earth is not as observable, but for people who are very sensitive to small changes, they will actually start feeling the slight differences in mood, in emotions, in the way they think. It may be tiny, but it does have a small effect. So imagine that the moon is not the only planet that has an effect on us. So every other planet in this solar system has a gravitational pull by itself to stop it from crashing into each other. So when that happens, it actually affects us when it moves in different directions. And that is pretty much the study that is translated into Bazi wisdom. So the system of Bazi utilizes your date and time of birth to map out the probability of what your inherent characteristics are, and at any given point in time, what are the influences in your life. Okay, before I go further into this subject, I have to reiterate that this is more of a collective knowledge that has been handed down from generations past, and it's very, very much like the big data we use now, how we collect data to understand consumer behavior. So in ancient times, we collected movements of planets and translated that to human behavior. So it's a similar kind of concept. It's just in ancient times, it probably took them a lot longer to collect that kind of knowledge. So today, so take it as a guide and know that ultimately what we have is actually the freedom to make decisions and choices. So the opportunities are given to us to know that we can actually, grab them, or we can just let them pass us by. So of course the science in this is being, in the astrological observations and the movements of the planets. The art actually lies in the practice. So how can we use the information that we receive to apply it to give meaning to what is in the present and make life smoother, easier, better, and more fulfilling? Isn't that what we all want? To have a more meaningful and fulfilling life moving forward?